Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the weekend update. We're looking here. We're going to start off with the Dow snooze fest. All-time highs again on the Dow and the SPY, while 90% of this market looks and acts like the market is imploding. I really cannot recall a time in the last 10 plus years that I've seen such a disconnect between the market making highs and almost every stock that is in the rest of the market. Just remarkable how dead most of the market has gotten. You can see here new all-time highs on the Dow. We're going to look at the QQQs. Q's doing very well, even though we've seen a lot of the speculation come out of the market. Now, what used to happen was if we saw a rally like this in the Qs, we would have seen the kinds of stocks that we trade, small caps, speculative stocks, on fire. But the reason we see the Qs doing a move like this, it's not Tesla. Tesla's had a move, but Tesla's not at all-time highs. What is driving that is the boring tech stocks, Microsoft, etc., etc. Now, Microsoft, Facebook, these kinds of stocks going into this week, there just feels like we're going to have a large cap sell-off. We cannot have these kinds of moves with most of the market dead and not see some sort of correction in the large caps. Now, that is a good sign in my eyes because we have seen almost a bear market type action in most stocks in this market. I'm going to look at this is the Russell 2K small cap index, but it's not really small caps. They're giant stocks in this indice, but it's not hitting any kind of new highs. IWC, this is the micro cap index. I don't like to talk about it a lot because as you can see here, it doesn't trade a whole lot of volume, but you can see here as well, far off the highs and no real interest, nothing but real selling volume in most of the stocks. And when we go over some of these charts, you're going to see a similar pattern that's come out, especially in the last week. I believe the last week was the least amount of trading I've done in a couple of years. There was a day this past week, I think it was the first time in years that I had not done a trade in the first 2 hours, just sitting on the hands, watching the action out there. You know, as I've said before, sometimes the best trade is no trade, especially when a market is like a rock that refuses to give any kind of blood out of it. You're just squeezing in futility. Now, Friday, I believe, saw a potential turn. The action out there has gotten really insane on a lot of these stocks, especially with the overall market making new highs. As I scroll around on social media, I've mentioned in the room that I continue to see more and more posts from people saying shorting this, shorting that, and I'm referring that to small cap stocks. And, you know, it's not like these guys are anything big or special, but just seeing the amount of short and cover posts out there, usually everyone rushes to one side of the boat right before the boat goes to the other side. Quick mention on AI. This is a stock I use as a proxy for the speculative fervor in the market, and it is trying to put in a bottom here now over the last couple of weeks. What would it take? Maybe a move over 75, but if and when we get that sustained move in the speculative stocks, this is a stock I think could move over 100. So, you know, this continues to be the stock that I look to daily to see, you know, if that craziness is coming back. Now, the craziness did spread in the past week to crypto thanks to the Coinbase IPO. Huge move on some of the cryptos. Dog, woof, woof, 47 cents on Friday. Wowzers. That's from a half a cent last year. What, 40,000% return or something crazy like that? On Friday, the cryptos popped big. We had Litecoin up huge. It looked like the money was starting to come into Litecoin because that one has been lagging a lot. But then yesterday and into today, we've seen the cryptos get hammered. All this talk about money laundering, the government's going to get involved. When you click on those articles, however, they're the same articles that were coming out right before the Coinbase IPO. So, you know, cryptos were due for a sell-off. Maybe that sell-off, when it comes, will start to bring some of that money back into small caps again. So going into this week, we've got a lot of potential news plays. Now, this past week, I'm glad none of these companies come out with news, because we saw companies come out with news, pop and die, like CSCW. It was not a week last week to have news. Now, Unami, when they had their conference call a couple of weeks ago, stated that Ambry had taken test results from them on March 27th and would give them the results 3 weeks later. That 3 weeks later is tomorrow or in the next couple of days. Now, these guys are not known for putting out press releases. That's part of the problem when you trade news events on small cap stocks. This company is a company of engineers and scientists, and their IR guy probably got his IR degree, you know, through the mail or on the internet or something like that. Maybe they're going to surprise me now that I said that, but this is still a solid swing for me waiting on that news. These guys are the only North American company that does this. I mean, the news they had on their conference call, A, confirming Ambry had test results, and B, that the U.S. Army was talking to them, and this is the action we saw on this stock, pretty much tells you what the market has been like recently. XPL, this is another one in the sector. Now, Unami moves, this one moves, but again, similar, hammered on Friday. Now, I actually went, as you know, doing a little bit of shopping on Friday, because some of these moves were absolutely insane on Friday, and we actually saw some very, very nice reversals across the board, almost a crescendo of selling that typically happens at a bottom. It just feels like we have a bottom out there. I'm still high cash. 88+% cash in my swing accounts right now. Still playing half positions. Still playing everything small. Not over trading, but I liked what I saw around the market on Friday. These guys are actually presenting on Monday at a conference. Maybe they'll give us a little tidbit like they put on the website regarding electric batteries. But again, we're waiting on the IR departments of these small companies that for the most times suck. Speaking of waiting on news, ITP. But look, another one where it just fell out of bed on Friday, but put in a potentially nice bottom. This is one, now this week, this is the week these guys need to put the news out. 200-day moving average, 64 cents. 50-day moving average, 79. That's a nice bounce back move on this one, especially if they're able to put out that news. ACST, down it went. Maybe eventually they're going to use all this cash that they've raised over the last few months to actually put out that merger press release. But what you see happen here, and it's not something you see happen a lot, you'll notice a lot of these stocks, the 200-day moving average is not acting as support. Well, it wasn't last week. This kind of action rarely happens. And when you see this stray underneath the 200-day moving average, especially when you see it across the board, usually means there's a lot of weakness out there. But people who sell down here usually mark bottoms in stocks and in sectors. So we had a lot. This chart pattern has played out among so many charts as I've been going over it today, getting ready for this video. ACST push back over 50 cents. 55 cents is the 20-day. I mean, this was down in the 30s again. I mean, 30s? Really? Waiting on news. RSI, deeply oversell, bounce time. Comms. Comms has news coming. Period. We know they have news coming. They told us they're going to have drone news in April. We're here almost 2/3 of the way through April. We got another, what, week and a half left. This one also put in a nice bottom on Friday. Interesting thing on comms on Friday, the warrants had big volume and had popped up 30 to 40% on Friday while the volume was still lagging in comms. So maybe someone knows something about what's coming in the few days. This is, again, daily chart. Down, 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 down. No support anywhere. Bleed, bleed, bleed. It's not like the volume is big on these sell-off. It's just a lack of volume, lack of bidding, and everyone just sitting on the sidelines, and guys coming in and shorting these stocks because that's what rookie shorters do. INUV, similar thing. I mean, we're seeing Facebook make all-time highs. Advertising sector starting to heat up in a big way as the economy opens up. And we've got a big AI advertising stock doing this on good news all the way down to the 200-day. I picked some of this one up myself actually on Friday because this is a solid bounce spot, especially with the 20-day up here at 96 cents. That's almost 30% below. RSI in the basement. I'm okay adding to my swing on this one. MDGS, another one that broke down on Friday. 200-day moving average did nothing. Like it didn't even exist. This company now, when you add up all the divisions and assets it has, is trading under its asset value. NASA's talking about flying a drone. You know, this is a camera stock for NASA, etc., etc., etc. So now maybe with these turns that we're starting to see this upcoming week has the potential to be very, very nice. SNCA actually didn't get beat up too bad considering what was going on out there in the market. We've got the merger vote this week, back to the uptrend line. Let's see how high this puppy can bounce. Break over 160 would actually be very positive for the chart here. Another one I'm going to mention here, VIZL. Again, as you see, the same chart pattern. They've hammered these all the way down and below their 200-day moving average. Nothing but good news from these guys and continue to get hit down. Now, one thing I've noticed in a lot of these stocks that are getting overly hit is they had dealings with a couple of brokers and in the recent months with regards to financing. Could be a thing there. Could be those guys doing something, who knows, but this looks ready for a bounce. RSI in the basement. I'm going to show you guys a chart we looked at recently. This is a one-year chart of VIZL. Cup and handle. We've got a 7-month cup here and then a 3-month handle, which is exactly what you want to see. I'm actually swinging this stock long-term. I love the sector. I love what they do. I think the valuation is utterly ridiculous with some of the market valuations we see elsewhere in this sector. So it looks like we put in a bottom on Friday. Now, keep in mind, just like overbought can become more overbought, as we've seen on the Dow, oversold can become more oversold, especially when you bring emotion into the equation with so many new traders in this market and old traders too, who during this last 5-6 month rally have just picked up horrendous trading habits. This is a market that will teach you to be a trader for years. Any clown can make money when stocks keep going up every day. It's the traders that hold on to those gains when the market does what it's done over the last month. Those are the guys who last the longest. The guys and the gals who last the longest are the ones who can get through this kind of slop. Markets like this will hammer home discipline in your head, and they will hammer home position sizing. If you have the correct position sizing when you see action like this, when things get to extreme levels, you've got the ammo to go and make it work. Daily chart. I mean, as you can see, down, 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 potential bottom. Now, one stock I did want to mention here before I go, AYRO. Again, look at this one, under the 200-day moving average. I mean, across the board, any stock near its 200-day has dipped under. Now, this chart looks like it's ready to bounce going into this week. I'm going to possibly keep an eye on this one for an ad on my swing. Let's just see how the market reacts tomorrow. This is a market, who knows what's going to happen. Friday was a great potential, let me make that potential bottom in the stocks we're playing. But I want to start missing some stocks. I want to see stocks that I wanted to buy run. I want to see that happen a few times. That's an indication to me, A, I'm seeing the right stocks, and B, I'm being too cautious and maybe it's time for me to get active. But being cautious in a tape like this is not a bad thing. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. I will see you all in the chat room tomorrow. Bye.